Welcome. Did you know that the very first winter here for the Pilgrims was a brutally cold one, and food was in very short supply? So legend has it, some days each person was allotted just 5 kernels of corn to consume. Now when spring came, they planted lots of seeds and were lucky enough to have a bountiful harvest the following fall, allowing them to celebrate the very first Thanksgiving, where on every person's plate supposedly they placed 5 kernels of corn to remind everyone of the hardships they endured over the past year. So, if you're looking for a little Thanksgiving themed chemistry for your kitchen this year, then I highly recommend trying the experiment called dancing popcorn. Now there's 2 methods you can use. For the first method, you're going to need a glass container of water, a glass, a jar, filled about 3/4 of the way with water. Now to this container, you're going to want to add a little bit of baking soda, or what's known as sodium bicarbonate. A tablespoon or 2 should do. The water is going to turn cloudy, and you're going to want to give it a stir to make sure the sodium bicarbonate dissolves in the water. You'll know it's all dissolved once the solution turns clear again, so it might take a moment or 2. As that sodium bicarbonate dissolves in water, it's actually an exothermic process. So if you touch the sides of your container or your jar, you might notice that the temperature of the sides feels a little warmer to you. Give it one last stir here. Now once your baking soda has dissolved, then you're going to need a little uncooked popcorn, and you're simply going to place the kernels down into your container. And the last thing you're going to need is vinegar, or what's known as acetic acid. Now when baking soda and vinegar react, they produce a little bit of carbon dioxide, which is a gas, CO2. Now, the gas that's produced creates vigorous bubbling. So when you go to add your vinegar to your reaction container, you want to make sure you do so slowly, so that way you don't overfill your container. But as soon as you add the vinegar, you should notice lots of bubbles forming. And again, you want to do so slowly so you don't create a big mess. But those bubbles are key. They surround each one of those corn kernels, allowing those corn kernels to become less dense and float to the top of the water. Once those bubbles at the surface start to pop, then the corn kernel becomes more dense and sinks back down to the bottom, giving the appearance of dancing popcorn. Might take just a moment to get going, but you'll start to see those kernels pop up and down. Now, like I said, there's a second method you can use. This time you're going to start once again with a container of water, okay, just water this time, and straight into the water you're going to add your corn kernels. Dropped one. Now, if you want to make it a little more interesting, you can always add a drop of food coloring. Now this time, instead of using baking soda and vinegar, we're going to add Alka-Seltzer tablets. Now you're going to need 1 tablet for every 4 ounces of water that you use. So I'm going to go ahead and add 4 tablets to my reaction jar here. Now once again, you'll notice bubbles forming. These bubbles, once again, are CO2. This time from the reaction of sodium bicarbonate and citric acid that are in the Alka-Seltzer tablets. Same concept's going to occur. You need to give it a minute, but those CO2 bubbles are going to surround the kernels of corn, allowing them to become less dense, rise to the top, and then when they pop, the kernels will become more dense and sink back down to the bottom. As another interesting side note, as the Alka-Seltzer dissolves this time, it's actually an endothermic process. So if you are holding the sides of your container, you might notice that the solution starts to feel a little cooler to you. But here you go. Here goes the dancing popcorn. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and continue to follow along for more chemistry concepts.